Welcome, everyone. Regular meeting of council, Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Inca, Kappa, and Silk people. Late items, we have none. Public input, do we have any? No. Adoption of minutes. 4.1, regular council meeting minutes, January 13th, 2026. Recommendation that the minutes of the regular council meeting held January 13th, 2026 be adopted. Councilor Petrosi, Councilor Baxter, any errors or omissions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 5.1, general matters, delegations and recognitions, affordable townhome community, to be presented by Mr. Keith Gordon, CEO, Ms. Crystal Wiebe, CFO, and Mr. Damien Hugh, project manager. And you guys can all come up. You might want to drag a chair or two with you. We probably should have one more chair up there. I'll get you to push the button in front of you and I'll get your mic live. And you are good to go.
Your Worship, Mayor Getz, members of council, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. I am Keith Gordon. I'm the co-founder of the Anhart Network of registered charities, community contribution companies, and nonprofits. Our base is in Vancouver, but we are incorporated across Canada, and we are in the process of developing affordable housing in a number of different areas, including Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and of course in British Columbia. I'll just say a few things, and Damon, who is with me, will give you some facts of the project that we're working on, and then I will explain the obstacles and our plan to move forward. I'll just say very quickly, I do have a connection with Merit in that my cousin served on this council for 21 years, Harry Croker, and 2 years as mayor. So I do have always felt a connection with Merit. So we have been working for a number of years on a project on DeWolf Way that first of all started as a CMHC funded project, affordable apartments, but for a number of reasons that I won't go into tonight, we changed course. Basically because it was difficult to get CMHC to focus on a smaller municipality, even though we were successful in Hope. So we have a different pathway. Damon will give you the facts of the matter, and then I will finish our time here explaining the obstacles and how we can collaborate.
Hello, my name is Damon. Thank you for having me. So this is a 48 townhome project at 3757 DeWolf Way. It's a reflection of what we have done in Hope 3 years ago, in which we want to bring affordable home ownership and affordable homes to a city that has steady population growth, wants more business and health professionals to help the city grow, and to have more seniors and new families needing a home to live in this steady growing population city. This would be a 4-phase project, and we are planning to have an affordable home ownership program in which the qualified person can contribute 5% down payment, which is roughly near $10,000 to $15,000. And the other 15% we subject to financing if we have impact investments, in which we have in the past, for example, the Rider Project at Hope. They will pay 15% of the total down payment, and it will be repayable in 10 years and not tied to the property. Thank you. I'll pass it back to Keith.
Okay, Damon, that was short. Okay, so the proposal is 12 fourplexes, and it's a strata project, and we we've been working with the First Nation for the last 6 months, who decided at the end not to go ahead with the purchase of the entire project. We're doing this for the community. This is not a for-profit. We will use any pathway to help Merit. We've held this property for a number of years, and we really wanted to go forward this year. There are a number of obstacles in our way, including the fact that there are civil works that need to be done at about $2 million. And so we're going to have to overcome that. In Ontario, we're overcoming that by working with the municipality and finding funding from the Ontario government for that project. We're not sure how we're going to overcome the obstacle for this project, but we will work hard on that. We have a very good relationship with Van City and the Van City Foundation, and we have worked with impact investors before. We have a credit union saying that they will finance this project with 100% of the pre-sales sold on the project. We would do it in phases. We would start with 2 of the fourplexes. We would sell an entire fourplex to a nonprofit or a First Nation. If a First Nation doesn't want to buy the whole project, which we worked on that. We were right to the lawyer stage over the last 6 months, but it didn't work out. So, but maybe there's an Indigenous group that would want just one of the fourplexes. We tried to have the sale price at $250 for the 2 bedrooms, and about $450 for the 3 bedrooms. The 3 bedrooms are on 2 levels. They're actually twice as big. They're 1,600 square feet as opposed to 800 square feet. But prices have gone up. And here's our dilemma in Canada. There's a big gap now between new construction and what an existing home would cost. We all know that. It's a big obstacle. But because we're a nonprofit and we have other ways to succeed, we think that this year we can overcome those obstacles. So we're very serious about going ahead with this for the benefit of Merit. If it would be appropriate and there was any comments or questions, I would stop talking now to allow time for that.
Sure. So thank you for the presentation. When you talk about the civil works, I'm assuming we're talking about water, sewer, earthworks moving. So I know where the site is, and I would imagine there's a bit of movement of dirt that has to go around in order to level that off because it's pretty steep. So
correct. There's retaining walls. There's a cul-de-sac that we would have to. And I should have said we're at the development permit stage with this project, close to finishing the building permit.
Okay. Questions from anyone else, Councilor Logan?
Thank you. So our housing situation, I want to believe that has changed in the past few years. So now that we are dealing with this project, have you made any type of housing assessment to determine the need for that specific units in our community?
Yes, we've done that, but we would certainly update that. The housing needs assessment you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. I mean, it's a community-based project. So we want to go downstream with what the municipality and the community wants. We're doing this based on an earlier assessment, and we'd certainly be happy to do that again.
Okay, thank you. It's interesting to see this your organization. So they are operating as it's called a CCC, Community Contribution Company, where they have to reinvest 60% of their profits and they can retain the 40%. So when I see financials, when I see the projections, I see that you guys are breaking almost even. So I don't have any concerns. I think that this is a social return primarily. So my only concern, I don't know if that would be for them or staff, it's to make sure that if there is going to be, we're talking about affordable housing, that make sure that when this project is completed, there's not going to be changes. Remember in the past that there was going to be some affordable housing units, and after that, everything changed. What is going to be in place to make sure that this will happen, that we will have this affordable happening, and nothing else is going to change once the project is complete?
I just remind you that it's a strata. So these homes are for sale. We've had the question, well, what makes it affordable? Well, number one, we are a not-for-profit organization, so we're not adding extra fees to the development. Number two, we're trying to build entry-level homes. So these aren't high-end homes. These are accessible homes to people on middle income. Number three, we have a long-standing relationship with impact investors. So the idea is that if some of the owners would have 5% down, we would have a 15% impact investment at let's say 2%. And it would be not secured against the property, and it would be interest-only payments for 10 years. So that would allow a number of people to have access in an affordable way. So it's a strata. So in other words, once it's sold, it's sold, and then it's just a matter of managing it.
Councilor Petrosi.
Thank you for the presentation. Back in 2024, I had done some research on the cost per square foot to build, and I'm just thinking $200 a square foot just seems low compared to 2024 numbers.
Yeah.
Say Kamloops in 2024, $275 to $350 a square foot to build.
Yeah, we're well aware of Altus benchmarks for Canada. We do have a community housing champions program where we ask the consultants and to go the extra mile and to sharpen their pencil. But Anhart Construction is the builder. So we are actually in control, and we're not Habitat for Humanity, but we're somewhere on a continuum that's close to that.
Right. See, I'm just a little worried your costs may go up, and what you thought might be affordable housing, you may actually have to raise your asking price on these units.
100%, that's our obstacle.
And soft costs too, back in 2024, $20 to $50 per square foot, and you're saying average about $24 a square foot for soft costs. And that doesn't include the civil works.
Right.
Usually civil works is included in soft costs, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's a challenge right there.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. So I guess I agree full stop. However, there have to be other solutions if it's going to be affordable.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councilor Charney.
Thank you for the presentation. And I do like the final design project. You originally said the one bedroom was originally at $250. You don't have an updated final cost for a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom?
We finished the strata disclosure. So we have a development permit and we finished the strata disclosure. We haven't advertised the price because we can't really do that until we fix the costs. And we think the cost, because they have risen, the cost will be too high. So we're reluctant until we have that solution to advertise the cost. I mean, we can advertise a few at a low price, but maybe that's disingenuous.
Mm-hmm.
So we think it needs to be, because it's a community-based project, we have to be 100% transparent with our ability and capacity.
So in the year 2026, what would you consider generalization as an affordable 2-bedroom unit?
Well, the numbers were crunched again just before this meeting, and the numbers that I have right now are about 300 mid 300s for the 2 bedrooms and the mid 500s for the 3 bedrooms. The 3 bedrooms are upper on 2 levels, so they're 1,600 square feet, and the 2 bedrooms are 800 square feet. But to be quite honest, I don't want to advertise those prices because it's too high.
Correct.
I want them lower. We have some means, we're going to do that. And I guess today is a way of just sort of stating our agenda and to be very transparent about the obstacles that we have. As a nonprofit, I don't want to start a project where the numbers are so high that it's not going to be affordable to people in Merritt.
Now, when you add the strata fee, hopefully you can still keep that in that affordable range?
Well,
Or
yeah.
is that beyond, like, once you sell it, that's it, and then strata fees just fall where they fall?
Yeah, I mean, strata management is up to the owners of the strata. We can only set the initial
Right.
strata fee, and then now there are ways we can remain in control of that. If we don't sell all the units, we can actually have the majority of the vote, and we can keep those strata rates low. So we've talked about that as well. We've talked about maintaining ownership of at least 51% of the units.
Okay, that would be next. So,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Councillor Richard.
Thanks for the presentation. It's interesting to see and nice to see some of your projects. I know in the past when you presented years ago, there was information on your other Vancouver locations that you had done. What I was wondering was, with this type of project, if you're going to build a couple of fourplexes first, are you planning on having, say, like a waiting list where you would see the viability, start working with the project and maybe try?
I missed the one word. We're thinking about having a what?
Like say a waiting list?
A waiting list?
Yeah. And the reason I'm asking is because I know when the Moyes family had built quite a few homes similar to this in the 70s, they kind of had a list of people trying to build, get into some first time home buyer type program. And they had a list of houses kind of using a similar floor plan for detached homes. And there was quite a list of people trying to get into homes. Of course, that was when single detached was the main construction type around.
Yeah.
But that's past. That's probably when Harry was running the building supply store. But anyway, the main thing that I'm wondering is because right now you see a lot of 2-bedroom units that are available that are older, which would be less cost than maybe strata, but of course they're older and maybe needing renovation. So financing a newer unit is probably easier in the eyes of CMHC, especially with the banks wanting as much detail as they can, probably easier to finance something newer. But I was just wondering if, you'd be working with CMHC and the credit unions to maybe get people on a first time home buyers plan grant or something like that to encourage the purchases.
There's no CMHC money in this. We bought the property for $1.1 million.
Yeah.
And we financed it with land purchase financing from Vancity Credit Union. The
Yeah.
Vancity Foundation invested $800,000. Now they did get that money from CMHC. There's been no payments on that. It's 2% interest. And we put another $1 million of our own money into the project. It's credit union financed in construction financing and then sold.
I wasn't thinking of Anhart. I was thinking about the purchasers, because if you're doing 5% down, that's obviously CMHC funded, right? For mortgages and whatnot. So that's why I was wondering if there would be, promoted as attainable housing for first time home buyers and
Yeah.
have, a preference. Like the purchasers.
How would they contact us?
Yeah, like how will this be marketed primarily to first time home buyers? Like,
Well, we would work with them through the credit unions or whoever is going to help them. So they would have to have 5% down, and then they would have to be in an income target. So they would have to be able to own a home and to make the payments. Now, if a nonprofit bought the fourplex, then they can rent the units to their members. So that would be a strong feature of this as well.
mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, if they'd have to have 5% to get started.
Based on your projected prices. Maybe
Yes.
Say at the 250, the 350, okay.
Yeah.
And then do it if they were interested in that. Well, I mean, maybe that's going further down the.
Yeah. So if they had 5% and they fit in an income target,
Yeah.
then we would approach an impact investor and ask them to add 15%. Now they got 20%.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and they don't, and there's, and it's not a charge against the property. So now they got 20% down. So now they can qualify for a conventional mortgage.
Mhm.
And they would only have to make interest payments on that 15% impact loan to them
Oh, I see.
through Anhart, and it would be repayable in 10 years. But it's not secured. That's a feature because the bank doesn't want that.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Baxter.
In your request, it says formal partnership framework. What does that entail?
The request of the formal partnership
Yep. What does
with
it look like? What,
with the municipality?
Yeah.
Well, if we're kindred in our interest, I think we will all work together. So what we're doing in other parts of Canada, we don't have a specific ask for the municipality. We want to present the project on a more of an equal level and have collaboration. So if we're going downstream with the municipality's desire, if this is good for merit, then the municipality can have access to things that we as a nonprofit do not. And that's what's happening in other provinces. We can also, work at provincial housing authority levels and federal levels and so on. But there's many things you can do that we can't do.
Paul?
Councillor Charney mentioned strata. What are the going strata rates or what's being charged in Hope, say? What's the strata going for?
The Hope property is affordable rentals.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's not
okay.
affordable home
Okay,
ownership.
okay.
Yeah.
But what
And
would
we haven't established we're just complete, the ink is still dry, still wet, on the completion of the strata.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd just be good to know 300, 400 per month, like it just, because that's going to be on top of. the
Yeah,
people
we're-
purchasing, right, so.
I mean, we're hoping it would be less than that, but I don't want to say that number.
Right,
Because
okay,
because I would be speaking out of turn.
thank you.
Couple quick questions. How's the Hope project? How did all that go? The Hope project, are you completed?
Yeah, that project was an $8.5 million project. It was $5 million from CMHC. We put in $3.5 million through $1 million from our own organization and $2 million from impact investors. Van City Foundation was also in there for $1 million. And then we sold that to the Hope and Area Transition Center, I think they're called. They assumed the mortgage. We're doing another one for Hope right now for an organization that houses adults with intellectual challenges in Hope. Those are 14 apartments, and they're actually donating that to our limited partnership. So we have a limited partnership. We have a development company, we have a limited partnership, a construction company, and so they can buy it back in the future if they want. And so that is another project in Hope. And also we're manufacturing tiny homes for Lytton, and also modular homes that can support Lytton in building up after the fire. So that's the other projects we have going in this area.
So you talk about it. How many projects do you have total in Canada?
20.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have 1,100 homes in development right now.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Charney.
So, excuse me. So you said Hope is affordable rentals and these will be units for sale. So why the difference in the dynamics? Is there something that Merit needs that Hope doesn't, or just wondering why one is rental, one is purchase?
Well, if I can be blunt, CMHC cooperated in Hope and they said no in Merit. And we actually restructured after that. And so we thought we had a plan about 8 years ago. We flew to Ottawa where we were going to be much more dependent on CMHC. And I thought, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to use CMHC wherever possible, but we're going to use other means where we can. So we thought, well, we'll do affordable home ownership in Merritt. If we spent a lot of money on the design of a similar rentals that we had in Hope. So that's the reason. That's the reason we had to switch gears here, and it took so many more years.
Okay, you know, the price range you're talking, if you can keep it to that, that does fall within, you know, most people's affordable range. So I think for ownership, that's something that we do need in Merritt.
Yeah.
So all the best.
If we could get a feedback on that, on the sweet spot of a number, and then, I mean, I'm not asking for anything, but if that information it came from sources associated to the municipality here, and the impact investors and the banks and so on can see that there's community cooperation, we will do whatever we can to match, to get to those numbers.
Councillor Chair.
I was just curious, since we were talking about Hope, if you had built the new locations off Coquihalla Street, or if it was the new building that had gone up between 6th and 7th Avenue and
The one just recently,
Mhm.
that's not our project.
no, that one? Okay.
No.
No, they've had a lot of new construction there, so I was just wondering, because some of them
Yeah.
quite busy right along the highway, which is impressive. So,
Yeah.
but you guys have a lot of projects too.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thanks.
Councillor Egan.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Nice to see you again. I was just wondering, you said you did a needs assessment, and what were the results of that?
I don't have those details. I have a staff working on those things. I'm here as the lead. I can get you that information.
Yeah, it'll be helpful. It's kind of hard to just to support something unless we actually know the numbers.
Right, yeah. Although our data is coming from your community. So, but we do have researchers working on that.
But I mean, you have people that are probably very needy to have this, but can they afford it even at the low cost?
Well,
That's what I'm looking for.
yeah, I mean, that data is public data. What market rates are and what affordable. Affordable is an oft debated word in Canada, and many people don't like it because people use it and it's not affordable. But because we're a bottom-up organization, we want to use affordable that is affordable, defined by the people of the community. When we were here at the Best Western about a year ago, there were nonprofits saying that their members would be very happy. And you know what? This project could be that we will sell every one of those to a nonprofit or an Indigenous group, and they will rent it. That is my gut feeling of what's going to happen here, because that we can make happen. It's much harder to actually get it so low that people can buy it, or maybe it's a mix of half and half. I don't know, but that is a big challenge, what you're saying, and I 100% support it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. And if we can be excused.
Bet, and we will look forward to seeing what happens in the future. So thank you very much. 5.2 Elcon Investments, presented by Darren Alleray, co-owner of Elcon Investments. Darren, I'll get you to come up, push that button. Yeah, you betcha. You are good to go.
All right. Bear with me if you can. I'm a little under the weather,
No problem.
but I wanted to make a drive. So I'm a Chilliwack guy, so I've been on the road before this. So my partner Phil and I, we came to Merritt. We're in our 12th year, and 12 years ago, or not quite 12 years ago, we purchased within 30 days of each other. We purchased the Riverside Mobile Home Park on Houston. A month later, we purchased the Clapperton Manor Apartments. About 5-ish years later, we purchased the Sagebrush Mini Storage on Pooley. about 3 years ago, the development property on Ban Street, 1761 Ban. And about 18 months ago, we purchased the piece from the Otter Co-op on Airport Road. And we've been very happy with Merritt. But I had a chat with Rick in the fall when we came up for the DCC presentation. And this last couple of years, it's been, in all honesty, a little scary. The direction that the city is going with utility costs, property taxes, fees is frightening. And I just really wanted to, as a business guy, as a fairly significant contributor to the city, I just wanted to relay our concern. That's the whole reason why I'm here. We've got properties whose utilities have tripled in a couple of years or more. Property taxes are what they are. You can review my sheet whenever you like, but it's just right off of the invoices. So it's concerning. We have done a lot of work and a lot of investment into the Ban Street project. It has a lot of potential, but we're not to the starting line, and we don't know when we're going to get there. This new DCC proposal scares us to death. The economic downturn scares us. The costs scare us. So I feel for what the previous presenters were saying. And it's frightening. I mean, that's probably one of the best. We think it is the best, but one of the best developable pieces in town. We're not in the floodplain. We're on the edge of town, sizable, on and on and on. And we're not brave enough to pull the trigger, and we're not scared guys when it comes to business. So we need to keep our businesses healthy, because without businesses, you have nothing. And we don't have jobs, you don't have nothing. And when I get my quarterly bills and stuff now, I have a little bit of a heart attack, to be honest. So that's really all I came to say.
So we've had conversations kind of this from when I started. So I'm not sure if you're aware of the fact that we ran into a situation where our accounting wasn't exactly where it should have been. And we ran into a situation where we had to make some tough decisions over the last 2 years, which we sold to the community, and which we asked them to go on a journey with us. And we knew that these prices were pretty steep. But we were close to the point where we weren't going to be able to survive unless we did it. So you're not wrong here. These numbers are not wrong. We estimated this would be a 2-year journey. We've managed to put some money back into our reserves. We've managed to get our head above water where we can actually start to do things, which means now, the tax situation is a little bit more realistic for everybody. You'll also see a fair amount of development happening in the community. You'll see the new hotel going up, the AI Center, Mako 286, and Frank Rizzardo, and phase 4 on Frank Rizzardo, and phase 2 even further up. So those things bring in a situation where we can now start to move some of the tax burden around, which we did not have before. And no, you're right. I mean, in order for this community to grow, we have to be competitive. Now, we've been talking about the DCCs, and I think a lot of us sitting at this table are quite aware of the fact that the proposed raise of the DCCs is unacceptable. That's something we'll be talking about as we move on, because it's a little crazy. Right now we're at the opposite end, where I think we're the lowest DCCs pretty much anywhere, because it hasn't really been moved up a much. But
I no disrespect. I hear some of that and I'm like,
yeah, but here's the thing.
If Merritt is middle of the pack compared to another town, like what does that mean for me, right?
Well, again, we've got other contractors that build here as well without this. So this is part of the thing about doing business here. Unfortunately, we had a situation where we had to dig our way out. We're working towards it. Now, you can take my words any way you want, but the point of the matter is we have other contractors that build here.
Sure.
And it's real simple. If you don't want to build here, you don't have to. You know, we appreciate you being here and all the rest of it. But I mean, we're going through a situation. We've been very open about the situation we're going through, and you're not wrong here. So we are looking at making some changes, but this is where we're at. And I'm not really actually sure what you're looking for.
I'm not looking for anything. I just wanted to voice my concern
Mhm.
and that's it. That's all I'm doing. I just want to, I want to make it just abundantly clear that decisions made here
Mhm.
have a lot of effect. And I do find it a little bit disingenuous when you have the provinces complain about being dumped on by the feds, and then the cities complain about being dumped on by the province. And then we can't dump on anybody,
Mhm.
right? So, you know, like, for example, the utilities. I mean, when you started going on to TV and stuff, when they shut down the hospital and stuff a few times, I was applauding you. Good for you. You know, like, why should you pay for something you're not getting? But yet now you guys have passed a utility bill where we're paying utility fees on 3 properties that have no services.
And
Right?
that's-
That's
and-
no service and a
and that-
fee,
And that's something
right?
that,
So we can't download that.
No,
You guys can, we cannot,
and that's something that
right?
we will be discussing because there's some of us on council that don't agree with that as well. So, you know, these things come up. You know, we have had a lot of complaints on that, and I'm not going to lie to you. And for some of us in council, that's something that needs to go back to policy where we can discuss it and possibly make some changes on that. So you're not wrong. That is an issue, and it's an issue we have to address. So this was brought in and it was floated, and we're not necessarily sure this is something we want to continue with. And that's exactly where we're at.
Well, we shall see.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not, you know, if the town is in better shape or whatever, I'm not gonna go home and report back that we're looking at reductions in costs.
I don't expect you to. So
you
like
know.
I say, like anything else, you know, this takes some time, and I understand your frustrations. But we are aware of the fact. I mean, the last thing we want to do is commit economic suicide. It's the last thing we want to do. So yeah, you know, like I say, there are some issues that you've brought up that some of us are aware of, and we are questioning some of those things as we move forward.
I appreciate that. I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
And again,
Some of our properties, just to be clear, some of our properties, the city is our biggest expense.
yes, and
Biggest.
some people.
You guys are essentially our partners.
Yeah, and some people will tell us that this, some people will say to us that the city sometimes is the biggest obstacle they have. And sometimes we are, and it's unfortunate. And you know, we appreciate the fact that you have invested in the community. We want to see you continue to do so. But like I say, this is kind of an interesting tightrope to walk sometimes. And sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. So questions, council? Oh, Councillor Charn.
Thank you for presentation. Your concern with paying for a utility you don't receive, as the mayor said, we have discussed this, and I personally feel that if you are not receiving a service, you don't pay for it. And so I think this does have to be addressed and you know, brought up to policy and then to the council. And hopefully we can get a better answer for you.
I appreciate that. I mean, but in the grand scheme of the over 200,000 we'll be paying to the city this year, that portion is small potatoes. It just burned my butt real hard when I like, what are we getting a utility bill for this property for? It's got nothing, right? And that was a little aggravating, but it's small potatoes, you know, like when our utility bill at Riverside Mobile Home Park goes from 6,600 to 10,000 a quarter. It's shocking. Our apartment building went from 2,200 to 6,000 a quarter. It's shocking. You know, our storage, which has one toilet that our buddy, our manager Gene probably flushes, you know, 5 or 6 times a week. We went from $200 and some a quarter to almost $1,000 a quarter.
And like I said, we ran into a situation where we
You know,
were told one situation and that was incorrect by the time we had somebody look at it correctly. So also too, it's the same situation as, I mean, I don't know about yourself, but I mean, I don't have kids in school anymore, but yet I continue to pay the school tax, right? So that does happen. Now this is something, as Councillor Charney has mentioned, is something that doesn't sit well with all of us, and we will be looking at that. But I mean, even though it's small potatoes, at least it's a change, right?
Understandable. I agree. It's super challenging. It's super challenging. You know, we house about 130 Merritt residents.
Mhm.
And I tell you, if I charge them an extra nickel, I'm hearing about it, right? And you know, it's tough. It's tough to keep these buildings up. You know, in our mobile home park, not only are we paying 10,000 a quarter for water and sewer, I mean, we're responsible for our own sewer lines, our own water lines. If we got a problem, the city doesn't come and fix them, we have to fix them. Right? So, you know, you know,
This is the game you got into, right? This is the decision
yeah,
you made.
yeah, and we were flying along, and then just this last 18 to 24 months since we've had these huge increases, like, wow.
So we've had several open houses explaining why we went in this direction. I'm assuming you didn't attend any.
On those, no,
Okay.
but I am abreast of it, and keeping in mind I'm a
Yeah.
Fraser Valley guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna go to an open house and say, you know, I don't believe with what you say and on and on, and there's reasons or whatever. All I'm saying is that, again, you guys can download, I cannot. Right?
And-
So if your guys' budgets are tight,
There.
you guys can pound the gavel and say everything goes up 15%, done. I can't do that. Especially my rentals. That's a regulated industry. And we've had 8 years of below inflation level increases. Right? We had 2 years with 0. This last year, 2.5 below inflation. Even in the years when inflation was high, the NDP government wouldn't give it to us.
Mhm. So
So we're about 12, 14% below inflation over the last 8 years, on top of, you know, other costs, right? Which are way above inflation,
Yeah.
way above.
And the difference between us and the provincial and federal is we can't run a deficit either. So we cannot run a deficit. So anyways, Councillor Egan.
Thank you, and thank you for coming tonight. Takes a lot of nerve to come up and say what's really on your mind. And I sympathize with you because I am a business owner in town too, and I've noticed it. So, I mean, I'm sure all the businesses in town have noticed it. So I'm again hopeful that we can take this back to policy and take another serious look at it. Thank you.
Councillor Charney.
I completely understand where you're coming from, but it's not just the businesses that have absorbed this cost. Individual homeowners have also borne the brunt of our increase in taxes and utilities. And
On the same level, on the same rate?
yes, yes.
Yep.
And a lot of them are on the breaking point too. And as the mayor said, this was a 2-year journey that we have taken. And hopefully this year, the taxes will be in the low single figures. But we knew from the start that it was going to be a complete hardship on a lot of seniors, a lot of people just barely making their mortgages. So it's not just apartment owners and rentals. The whole community was affected by these increases. And it was unfortunate, but as the mayor said, we had to take steps to address the financial situation we were in.
So over the last 2 years, we've gone up 24% in taxes in 2 years. Water and sewer, 50%. We raised taxes on everything from field users to pool to arena and everything in between. Some of that was situations where taxes hasn't been raised in 17 years. That's a council problem. Council makes that mistake. It's something that this council doesn't want to do. And I sat on some of those councils where we let things go for 10 to 12 years. You can't do that. And then all of a sudden you've got to jack it up and everybody loses their mind and you can't blame them. So that's where we're at. And again, we were trying to combat a situation that we had to get out of. And, you know, slowly we're working out when we knew it was going to be a hit and we took it and we heard about it and we still hear about it. And we were even talking about cutting 2 RCMP officers last year just to make things work and, you know, closing some of our facilities to make things work. That was where we're at. And we've managed to, you know, the city gave us some, the citizens of the city gave us some direction, which we followed. And so we didn't hire 3 workers this year for the summer. Our weeds got higher, et cetera, but it's what the city wanted because we couldn't do all of this stuff. So we had to make some changes ourselves. So I do understand where you're coming from. Councillor Etcher.
Yeah, basically, Darren, thank you for being here tonight because we do appreciate the comments. The unpopular piece that we did get from a lot of citizens were if they had a vacant lot, maybe where there was a home and being demolished, homes that had no utilities were now getting utility bills. So that was wildly unpopular. It's a lot of people and often. So we hear you. Utilities on people with suites. Sometimes it's a 1-bedroom suite and it's paying a 75% increase on utilities as well. So I think that's something that we'll review when we look at the budget as well. But thank you for being here.
Okay. I appreciate it. I mean, we're doing our part. And you know, it's definitely challenging. You know, and we hear it every day.
But it's good that you mentioned this, and we know about this. And well, the only thing that we can do is keep you informed on what we're doing. And you know, like I said, there's some items that we're not happy with that we're going to be relooking at. So, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Careful on the DCC stuff too, because it all affects pricing.
Yep.
And like right now, I don't know if you can build and make a buck, and nobody's gonna build. You can't make a buck, right?
Yep. Thank you. Unfinished business bylaws. 7.1 Water and Sanitary Sewer Services to Gateway 286 Local Area Service Amendment Bylaw number 24152026. And we have 3 recommendations. We'll do them one at a time. Recommendation that the Water and Sewer Sanitary Service to Gateway 286 Local Area Service Amendment Bylaw number 24152026 be read a first time. Councilor Petrosi, Councilor Olgan, any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Second recommendation, that Water and Sanitary Sewer Services to Gateway 286 Local Area Service Amendment Bylaw number 24152026 be read a second time. Councilor Etchart, Councilor Egan, any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Third recommendation, that Water and Sanitary Services to Gateway 286 Local Area Service Amendment Bylaw number 24152026 be read a third time. Councilor Petrosi, Councilor Baxter, any questions on this? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. 7.2 City of Merritt Building Bylaw Amendment Bylaw number 24162026. Recommendation that the City of Merritt Building Amendment Bylaw number 24162026 is given a first reading. Councilor Petrosi, Councilor Egan, any questions on this? Councilor Etchart.
I guess my question was mostly on the complex building extension versus I think it was the 1028, which is more the simple residential. So I was wondering how those inspections happen. Does it go in stages when a house is being built? And is the 1028 for primary residential and 1043 for the more complex, larger building? Was that what it was? Because when I was looking in there was 31 pages and it was a lot, so.
CL.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I'm not quite sure I'm following. My understanding of what's been changed here is allowing the building officials some time extensions and some ability to work with people a little bit more. When the building bylaw was finalized last year, there was harder times put on things. And they've asked themselves for some flexibility to be returned to it so that they can use discretion. If things are moving forward, they can use discretion to allow extra time. We can.
The reason I was asking is because I know that with a lot of the step code changes and whatnot, if you applied for a permit, say in 2022, and your 24 months was coming up and you asked for an extension 30 days in advance, would you still, because you applied when it was step code 2 instead of say step code 4 now, would you receive that benefit? I'm just curious.
Well, part of the goal of how the bylaw was done last year was to try and make sure that we can control that people don't apply early when they're not ready to control that benefit. So we already have that ability within the bylaw to establish additional requirements to meet a new code if it's really tight to it, or if it makes sense that it's a long way down the road, that they can provide that extension and it doesn't impact things.
And is the holdback only on the commercial applications that if they don't do the landscaping, is that only on the commercial complex ones or is that on residential as well?
Holdback?
Because we used to have, I think it was on some of the requirements for the occupancy permit, if they didn't complete the landscaping and the sidewalks around the commercial buildings, that there was some.
Okay, there are securities being held for
Securities, yeah.
various things,
Yeah.
yes. So if it's offsite civil works.
Yeah.
We're requiring securities. If it's landscaping, there's a security involved. Things get done, they get a certain portion back until the end of the warranty period, then they get the rest of it back.
But that's mostly in commercial, isn't it? Because I don't think,
Yes.
that doesn't apply so much on the residential.
Yes.
Okay.
I think in 2016, we had this brought forward because we ended up with a lot of commercial buildings that had built with a promise of landscaping and then reneged on that.
Yeah.
So we moved a bylaw forward that has to be paid up front first.
Mhm.
And then we go from there because we were seeing a lot of companies walking away saying, well, I'm done. I got my occupancy permit, and it never got done. So that's why we passed that bylaw.
Yeah, and we found that, in review of a number of the old securities that we held that still hadn't been paid back because people didn't finish things. Part of the reason looks like the cost to finish something went higher than the amount we were holding back, so it was to their advantage to just walk away from it and not do it.
And yet retain occupancy.
Yes, and that's what we're controlling now as well.
Okay.
Is we're not providing occupancy on anything until all the other things are looked after. That's
Okay.
mistakes that were made in the past as well,
Mhm.
where we lost control. Say we lost control, but the city didn't maintain control of the development by providing occupancy and things didn't happen. Right?
Oh, that's great.
And in some cases, they didn't take securities on certain things like civil works. And then you had nothing to go back on other than coercion, I guess, to try and get something done.
Councilor
Thank you.
Baxter.
Are the fines consistent with other communities and do we cost recover?
Fines. Are the fines changing in this?
No, it's just time.
Okay. My apologies, I did not review fines. I was thinking straight time thing was all we're talking about. Any fines were there from the previous version of it? Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, no, just send Councilor Baxter when you get some information on that. So,
That I can do. I'll leave myself a note about fines.
and in the future, if you see something in here that you're not sure about, you're going to ask a question, maybe a heads up so they can have that information for you. So, any more questions on this? All those in favor? Oh, sorry, Manuel. Oh, sorry, Manuel. Didn't see it.
All good.
For Councilor Rogan.
So just for my own understanding, so are we changing with this amendment from 36 months to 60 months? That's what it's happening here?
CEO? Yes.
Yes, with the building official's discretion on how to apply it.
So that's gonna be up to the building official to decide when this extension can be applicable.
Yes, it won't be automatic. We're trying to allow them discretion to work with people that are moving projects forward, but they'll probably use that discretion to not provide long-term extensions if something's just sitting there and hasn't done anything for a while.
And I think I feel much better right now with that explanation.
Okay.
My concern was operational. Like the policy level, it's fine, so the amendment is reasonable. I was just thinking about big projects that they get permits, they get some inspection, building codes, and after certain period of months, what's happening is still, the permit is still active.
Mhm.
So is that gonna be another review? What's the status of those current permits? So I was concerned more about the operational side. So if it's a big project and it's going to take all the 6 months, what happened with the original permits that were issued? Somebody's going to be monitoring them to make sure that they are still good and active. That's the concern.
And honestly, as we've heard even tonight, a lot of projects run into variations on costs and whatnot as they go forward. Construction costs change, financing has to change through the course of a project in a lot of cases as well. There's a lot of good reasons why things may have to be extended and we have to work with people. I'm a little bit more of a pick a date and stick to it kind of a thing, but I come from an environment where you do a subdivision, it gets filled up in virtually a year with houses without any thought because things are moving that fast. In an environment where we might have land available, it might take years to fill the land up, or projects run into changes of funding and or construction cost changes. It's almost more prudent to work with what's given to us that way and be flexible with the developers. But yeah, I had a little bit of trouble with it myself because I'd prefer to see hard dates going. You need it done by a certain time, and that's where we started when this was done before.
Any other questions? Those in favor? Opposed, carried. Second recommendation that the City of Merritt Building Amendment Bylaw number 2416-2026 is given second reading. Councillor Etchart, Councillor Baxter. Any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Recommendation that the City of Merritt Building Amendment Bylaw number 2416-2026 is given a third reading. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Etchart. Any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. New business. 8.1, appointment of approving officer. We have two recommendations. I'll do the first one first. Recommendation that Mr. Pranesh Jani, Director of Planning and Development, be appointed as the municipal approving officer for the City of Merritt pursuant to Section 77 of the Land Title Act beginning February 2nd, 2026. Councillor Egan, Councillor Etchart, any questions on this? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Second recommendation that Mr. Rick Green, a Chief Administrative Officer, be appointed as the Deputy Municipal Approving Officer for the City of Merritt pursuant to Section 77 of the Land Title Act beginning February 2nd, 2026. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Egan, any questions on this? All those in favor? Thank you very much. Silga resolutions. Or Silga resolution request that the January 14th, 2026, oh, sorry. Here you go. So, I guess we have a recommendation that the January 14th, 2026 report on Director Corporate Services titled Silga Resolutions be received for information. Councillor Egan, Councillor Olgan. I still need to get those to you, CO. We have talked about three of them. Can you remind me, I know what the one was for victim services. I can't remember. Do you remember what the other two were? Yeah, but yeah, we're going to bring it again.
My memory is not quite as strong. It's on a list in my office.
Okay.
But I do know it was victim services. I believe it was.
I can't remember either. And
I'm
I
trying
brought
to
them to you.
remember what the other two are. I have them written down.
You know what? I think what we'll do is we'll send an email out tomorrow just to let you know the three that we were looking at. It was something that we had talked in the past. I jotted it down. And because we're coming to kickoff time, when do you need those in by? Today, wasn't it?
We need them for the next council meeting because
Okay.
then you can vote on them at the next
Okay.
council meeting, endorse them and move them forward to Silga.
Okay.
So we're happy to
Okay.
work with council on any items that you would like to bring forward for consideration.
So we'll throw the three that I've got out there so we don't get duplication.
Absolutely.
And then if there's something that the rest of council would like to see, we can go with it. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 8.3, 2026 Silga call for nominations. Recommendation that Councillor Adam Etchart be nominated for the Silga Executive for 2026. Councillor Petrosi, Councillor Etchart, or Egan, Etchart, that would be great. Yeah, Councillor Etchart, you're okay with that? Excellent. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Notice of motion, we have shopping carts. Councillor Charney submitted the following notice of motion at the January 15th, 2026 regular council meeting. And the recommendation is that the topic of the abandoned shopping carts be forwarded to the Policy and Bylaw Review Committee for further discussion. And Councillor Charney, I'll hand it to you in case you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I would like to see policy review start a bylaw and that makes retailers responsible for cart management and retrieval, incorporating fines for non-compliance and encouraging the use of anti-theft technology. Some examples would be mandatory retrieval plans. The municipality requires retailers to submit a plan for the timely retrieval and return of carts that are abandoned off premises. Fines/fees, municipality institutes fines up to $500 for stores that do not comply with the bylaw or fail to pick up carts within a specified time frame. The municipality can also charge a storage fee for carts collected by city staff. Anti-theft technology bylaw stores require stores to take reasonable measures to prevent carts from leaving the premises. Those can all be from wheel locking systems to an on-site personnel. Cart identification, stores are required to label carts with their name and contact information to facilitate identification and return. And social solutions, work with social service organizations to provide dedicated carts for the homeless. So those are just some ideas of what policy review could look like. I know we are not the only community dealing with abandoned carts. And the problem is storing them. And what do you do with them? And so I think we as a smaller community could look at how we can solve this problem.
And probably I will get you to take your list and give it to the CO for, so it can be added.
Yes,
Already
I
done the
will
work,
do,
so.
I will do that.
Councillor Richard.
I believe that this motion has already been asked and answered in the previous council term, and it was a ugly situation, because what happens is these carts get picked up from our most vulnerable population, and you can't just dump the things on the ground without there being some kind of human rights violation. We're supposed to store the contents for up to 30 days. The other issue with this is then you're penalizing commercial store operators who contribute to taxes in the community and also share their non-saleable goods with the food banks and soup kitchens for community members in need. You know, the soup kitchen, the food bank. So I'm really concerned with that. The grocery stores spend a lot of money, and the other stores, even Canadian Tire has shopping carts, and maybe even the Dollar Tree. In theory, I think it's a good idea, but I'm concerned. We tried to develop a bylaw in the last term, and it was a mess because these carts are expensive. Our bylaw officer was making phone calls with the store. They were coming, collecting them. I think we could be a friendlier community by helping out that way. I'm really concerned that if we try and develop a fee system, the stores are very generous with how they contribute to our community, and I think it would be penalizing them, just like Mr. Allery brought us the information about the increased taxes for the stores. They're paying these increased taxes as well, and they do a lot of donations in our community. And I can appreciate that there is an issue with the carts, and I agree, but we ran into this problem and we just started working with the retailers instead, because I think you're penalizing them and punishing them too much if you develop a fine system. Because adding this technology to the carts is quite cost prohibitive, and groceries are expensive enough. So anyway, that's just my thought.
So the recommendations is to be forwarded to the policy committee for those exact discussions. Now, we did have conversations about this, and we got to a point where the stores decided to pick their stuff up, and it kind of solved itself. So here we are again with the same situation. So I think it's prudent for myself that it goes to policy where we can discuss this and throw these things out there with this kind of stuff. So I'll support the motion that it goes to policy for review and then come back to council. Any other questions on that? Oh, Councillor Chang.
I'm not necessarily saying you have to put in a fee. I'm saying that was just one solution. So I'm not penalizing anybody. I just want it brought up for discussion and have a variety of options out there. You know, I just see too many abandoned carts around town, and I think that we have to do something. Maybe we talk to bylaw and find out how many carts he picks up per year. What is retrieval rate from the different store owners? But I think we have to start somewhere, and not necessarily fining. I'm not saying put a fine in. That is an option. So I think we have to have a wide range of things. Maybe we start here, and then on the fourth step, it is a fine. But I think we have to start somewhere.
And just to bring you up to date, the RCMP are supposed to take these carts back the minute they see them, because it is theft. And they can take them immediately and dump the product on the ground and move on. They do not have to put it in storage. So that started happening for quite a while. That's kind of backed off, but the store owners have the ability to let RCMP know they want their carts back. And then the RCMP would go to the community and start taking them back, which they did. So anyway, so the recommendation is that the topic of abandoned shopping carts be forwarded to the Policy and Bylaw Review Committee for further discussion. We have a seconder, and that we already do. CO. Oh,
I just have a comment.
oh, okay. Oh,
Sorry, is Councillor Charney moving this in your second?
yes,
I believe that's what we have.
Councillor Petrosi.
Okay, working at Canadian Tire, the previous owner had requested that I go downtown, see if I could retrieve some of the carts for Canadian Tire, and he said, just dump the carts out. Just dump it and grab the carts. And I said, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna go about it this way. I'm gonna take the largest, strongest garbage bags I can get. Go and try to retrieve these carts, talk to these people, help them actually move their product from the shopping carts into these bags. At least I'm dealing with it in a, yeah, humane. And he agreed to that. And I actually was able to retrieve 2 carts that way. I contacted Wes, and Wes had 2 of our carts, Canadian Tire carts. And I went about it that way. And like, you know, we mentioned, it's very humane, and we just have to just dealing with the mental health in town and the drug addiction, just the way we deal with it. It's you know, kind of tender, and we have to deal with white gloves. And I approached it that way, and I think it seemed to work. So that's something that you can discuss at your committee. Thank you.
Any other questions on this? Councilor Ogun.
I just want to mention that it seems that I will be attending all the policy committee meetings because there are so many things that needs to be discussed there. And by the time they get to here, there are decisions that may not have all the information. So as long as it's only for discussion, I'm happy with that motion.
It's going to policy for discussion, yes. Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 9.2, 2026 budget moratorium. Councillor Egan submitted the following notice of motion at the January 15th, 2026 regular council meeting. Recommendation that council impose a moratorium on all new capital expenses until after the 2026 budget has been finalized. Councillor Egan, I will hand it over to you if you want to. But
The only thing that I'd like to change about that is to just say that anything that hasn't started.
so new capital.
New capital.
New
Yes,
capital. And that's how I've rephrased the recommendation, new capital.
yes, thank you.
You're okay with that, CFO? New capital? CAO, that's good? Okay. Any questions on that? Councilor Ogun.
So it seems to me that that was a yes. So as long as the staff is comfortable with this flexibility, I'm okay with that one. So if there is anything that may be a concern, I need to hear them.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just for clarification, new capital would mean anything proposed in the 2026 and further budget that was not previously approved in previous year's budgets, whether started or not, that is in progress.
Yes. Same thing. Yeah.
Right, because there might be a couple of things we're just getting to right now that were funded last year that
Right.
never got started.
That's correct.
They were funded last year. We're moving forward.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I need a mover, Councillor Egan is the mover, Councillor Petrosi seconded. Any other questions on this? Mike's on Councillor Egan.
Sorry.
Oh, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Words from council. Oh, Councillor Daxter is right there.
On Tuesday, the 20th, I went to the Cal meeting. And then Thursday, the 22nd, I went to the Nickel Valley Transportation Society meeting.
Councillor Charney.
Charlie here. January 19th, I went to the school closer presentation at MSS. It was much tamer than the one at Central. The attendance was much less and there weren't as many speakers, but still the same concerns. January 20th, I attended a COW meeting, and after the COW, I went to an ESS meeting. And I have to say, I think Adam Hart is doing a great job as our EMCR person. January 26th, I met with Norm Hansen and Pam Gray. I think a lot of you know Norm Hansen. He's worked in the forestry industry for over 70 years, extremely well versed in the subject. He's very concerned with the wildfire protection in the city. He recommends that we need a 1 kilometer buffer zone surrounding the city and complete this over a 10-year period. And he also explained the difference between the the ground fire versus a crown fire. And that was very interesting for me. If you know, you've got your ground all cleared up, you're not going into the ground fire. He also brought up the 2024 Community Wildlife Resiliency Plan. And he was at a Nicola Watershed meeting and no one had heard of this plan. So I went on our website. Of course, I'm so computer illiterate, but I can't find this. So I don't know where it is. And I don't remember if we as council saw this. I honestly don't remember. But anyway, there was a wildfire resiliency plan taken place. So I was just wondering if we as council could sit down with Norm. Now, Norm, you have to remember, Norm's 91, so he's not going to sit at the table and give a formal presentation. But if we as council could sit with maybe a lunch and learn with him and have a dialogue of how we can fire protect Merritt. We are surrounded by forests, totally surrounded. And so we are sitting ducks. And so I would recommend to council that we somehow we have a meeting with Norm and the chief to see if we can come up with some type of plan for protecting Merritt.
So just to let you know, 1.5 years ago, we met Norm out in the bush, the chief.
Yes, he
and
mentioned that.
We all went out, we went up to Juliet Creek. We were up there with the First Nations on what they were doing as far as burning, cultural burning, stacking. Norm walked us through all of that. So I would probably, rather than him come here, I would rather that council take that in because everything is answered there. And then you can actually see what has been done and how it worked.
Is that within the 1 kilometer buffer zone?
No, but the point of the matter is we've been after that 1 kilometer buffer zone for quite some time. I've been very open to the fact that I worry about the bench.
Okay.
I worry about all around the community. There's no appetite from the forestry to move in that direction. But I would say if Norm would, once again, put that on along with the First Nations group that are doing that work, I think you would be able to see all of that. And, or we could have Norm come, whatever you'd like, but it's better to see it.
Yes, I agree with that. And so I would like to work with maybe the CAO in incorporating something to do with the 1 kilometer buffer zone, working with First Nations, working with Norm, working with forestry, somehow starting the dialogue and starting the process. Because I think it's really necessary that we start to look at protecting this town. And then that kind of fell into line with the UBCM letter that we got. And I'm not too sure, it's the Fire Smart community funding. So the Fire Smart is not CAO, maybe you can clarify, or a CFO. This Fire Smart is just for in town. It's not for surrounding areas. Okay, so this money doesn't
So
affect.
one of your conversations probably should be with the chief because they have been doing a lot of ground cover burning over the years. And he can show you exactly where that was. We've had the goats come in and do some of that as well.
Yep.
So you're not wrong. I mean, I think we're all concerned about a wildfire in the community. Councillor Hogan, I know you're just waiting to go?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
Still got one more.
Sorry to barge in on you there.
Yeah, okay.
But I did go with Norm and he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah, and I think we should continue the dialogue with him. I think that we can't say that there should be no bylaw, a good neighbor bylaw taking place during the winter, because every winter is different. This winter is different than we've had 10 years ago. I don't think we shouldn't be putting our residents on hold from winter to spring to wait. Vehicles are not frozen to the ground. Vehicles can be moved at any time of the year. And I think it's unfair to our citizens to have to put up with an unsightly neighborhood. I know what it's like to look out your window and to see vehicles and garbage, etc. And I don't wish that on any resident. And I don't think that we should be telling them to wait until spring because it's impossible to clean up during the winter. I think that we have to have some flexibility and just have a little more respect for our citizens than just passing the buck, waiting for spring for a yard to be cleaned up.
So I'm not sure if you got my email or not.
Yes, I did. And
This
it
was passed by,
No, it wasn't passed. It was just a council suggestion that seasonal conditions should be considered. I don't think there is a standard
Is
bylaw.
there a standard bylaw for that CAO?
No.
Okay, thank you. Good to know. So again, that was a kind of conversation we had. So I guess that's probably something we should shoot to policy. So I would recommend that we push that to policy and get some concrete bylaw on that. So sorry to disrupt you twice. I feel bad now. Counselor Trozy.
January 19th, I attended the possible school closure at Merritt Secondary with counselors Charney, Egan and Etchart. And yeah, it wasn't very well attended and it wasn't as heated as the previous one, as Counselor Charney had mentioned. January 20th, attended the Cal meeting and that is it.
Counselor Hogan.
So I guess the same, but January the 20th, the COW meeting, January the 22nd, I attended the staff appreciation breakfast. It was nice to talk to people, to see people. Thank you for organizing that event. And regarding Norm Hansen, so I just want to remind people that when he approached me, because I didn't have the answer to his question, so I organized a meeting with the forestry office. At that time, 2 senior officers there were and he expressed his concerns, and they provided all the fire mitigation activities that they have been done. So at the end of the presentation, this Norm Hansen was pleased to hear about all this because he was not aware of what was being done. So before we do anything, we have to be aware of what is done, through the ministry, through the chief, and understand what can be done, what can be done more to enhance, or to reduce the risk. Thank you.
Counselor Egan.
I also went to the MSS school closure meeting, which I thought, I just kind of think that the school board kind of knows which way they want to go with this already. And I think the community is starting to feel it as well because of the low attendance that night. I had a citizen contact me about the water meters saying that they were surprised to hear that they should be checking for leaks within the first week or two. And they also wanted to know what was the lifespan on the water meters as well as replacement cost if it came, and who would be paying for that. And that's all I did.
Okay. As far as the water meter question, we'll get that answered. We'll get that in an email to you. Get that so you can have that answer. Counselor Etchart.
Yeah, basically I'm regurgitating what everyone else has said. We went to the school meeting. Questions were asked. I think it's important for the city to maybe put a statement out there that we would appreciate to put a stop on closures since we're hoping to see an economic increase, or we're hopeful of that. But I think the school board has already made their decision. As far as, and then the 20th, we had the asset management COW meeting, which was good. And I was at ESS with Counselor Charney, and we're kind of ramping up, getting training to make sure that if we have to open a reception center here, that we're prepared for that. So it's good that we have the active training. I think Adam's doing a good job as well. And yeah, January 22nd, it was nice to see the staff that we don't know who's where. And it's nice to see our fire reps and who's there, who's leaving, who's coming in. So that was great.
January 14th, we met with the CAO and I met with the curling club talking about the lease. We're moving along on that. Met with Bob Hughes from Ask Wellness. We're talking about some other recovery beds that they would like to see in the community, dealing with IHA on that. And they seem to be wanting to work with that. 20th was the COW meeting, of course, January 21st to 22nd. I was at the Thompson Regional Health District and Thompson Nicola Regional District meetings for 2 days. 23rd, I met with the film commission about a documentary that's being done in here and did a bit of a voiceover. And then later, the CAO and I met with Mr. Richard Kaufman from Silva Wood Products, who's looking to relocate or locate a glue lamp situation here. There'll be more information coming to you on that as we move along. Also, on the 26th, I met with the manager from Community Futures Nicola Valley, which we do every monthly meeting just to kind of see where we're at, where they're going, where we are. And later on that morning, I had a call with Minister Green on the flood issue. She is heading to Ottawa with Mayor Siemens from Abbotsford. And Mayor Siemens and I have had a conversation on that, and he's carrying the torch for all of the communities along the Coquihalla, all the way into Vancouver as an artery that needs to be open for the country, as the Prime Minister has said that these arteries need to be kept open at any cost. So we also had a conversation on the fact that I have asked the five mayors or the four mayors to join myself to work together to approach the federal government for funding. The five mayors working together is better than just one. And we're working on that. We'll have more of that when Mr. Siemens comes back. And we'll continue to work on that, hopefully for an FCM presentation, and hopefully get some time with the Prime Minister at FCM. January 27th, today I had a call with Carlo Finelli from York University, and they were the group that started the 4-day work week situation. They were a little surprised that we were no longer doing that, and they wanted to know why. So we walked through it, told them some of the issues that we had with it, and they're finding the same issues are happening just about everywhere that they've unleashed this program on. I used to work 4 and 4 when I was at the mine, but we were all working the same 4 and 4. And with a situation like a city, you can't do that. So explain to him what went on with us. So they're taking that information. You will see at some point a wrap up of what that looks like. Gas Buddy today in Hope, BC, 145.9 is the low, 148.9 is the high. Trail is a steady 134, Kitimat a steady 125, Penticton 122.9 the low, 131.9 the high. Merritt 130.9 low, 133.4 high. So that is it for me. Excellent. CAO report. In front of you, again, very informative. I appreciate these. I put these into a binder, so if I ever have to refer to something, they're there for me to refer to. Questions? Councillor Baxter.
I really enjoyed this report. Like, they covered every single area of merit. And so I feel like I know way more about what's going on with all the employees and what's going on around the city than I ever have. Thank you.
Councillor Charney.
I thank you for the report. It's very extensive, but you open yourself up.
Oh, here we go.
So may I ask you some questions, CAO? Okay, randomly, I'm gonna sit here. I'm not criticizing your report. I think it's excellent. I really appreciate the detail. So on page 5, under economic development, the advertising Go Camping and advertising Arts Guide, does this not fall under TNV's purview? I get a little confused sometimes when we do tourism type things under economic development. So is TNV not doing any of this?
I don't mean to step in here, but TNV doesn't work for us at this point.
Or will it then follow under their purview?
I think that's going to depend on how we lay out future contracts with them and apply funding to what we ask them to do versus what we want to do in-house.
Okay, okay,
If that makes any sense.
yeah. Under general updates, bringing 2 high school students on board as casual lifeguards. Are these new positions, or are they positions that we always have? They've always been budgeted for, and we're just bringing in 2. Are they vacant? Are they new positions, or what are they?
Yeah, I'd have to apologize on that one. Anybody here that can speak to that, possibly the director. Casual means one thing to me, it might mean something different to him.
Mr. Dave, you're up.
Thank you, Your Honor. To answer your question, Councillor Charney, our casual positions as lifeguards is a rotating position. We have lots of students that go into university from high school, and then some come back, some don't return. So it's an always ongoing thing. So it's a casual position we kind of keep revolving to integrate high school students is the beginning stages of our lifeguarding program.
So we're always budgeting for it.
We're always budgeting for,
changing
the casual, it just works into the training. It's the extra cost. And then once they are trained up, then they go into the casual pool when there's, space needed for staffing, then they fill those positions.
Okay, okay. Have the trailers been sold? We were in a position where we're talking about someone, and have they been sold?
Thank you, Your Worship. Not at this point. They are not.
Is it in progress, or have they, the person we were dealing with?
That's kind of in
Yeah,
camp.
there's a Fisher, remember that one.
So, I
Okay,
want to move on.
skip that one. Okay, then, I'm not too sure why on the next page, we're under housing. And then we get into the situation table. I think that is,
So what we're trying to do with some of our portfolio staff with some things have moved around lately. And we're trying to leverage experience and knowledge that we have in existing staff to help cover things that we've lost with other staff in recent times. So we're trying to shift to make some coverages. The situation table is one of those things.
so our housing director is now on the situation table?
She's assisting in the absence of the person that was doing it before.
Okay, interesting. That's interesting. Okay.
I was just thinking that that might, this situation table, wouldn't that be more part responsibility for victim services?
Well, they are part of it. So situation
So they
table,
head it up.
the situation table
I think
is
they
a
do.
group that comes together. So, let me put it this way. The city has always been looked at as the lead on that. I'm not sure.
So from an administrative perspective, you know, we would host a meeting and take the minutes, right? And that's essentially what's happening.
Yeah, I'm
And
just suggesting that maybe we should defer it to another department.
probably something we could ask. I just know that the situation table is considered a very important thing to have. Again, something we could ask.
On the Fir Avenue Bank stabilization, is this a provincial or a federal funding for that? It's going to be sheet metal, correct? On the Fir stabilization?
I honestly, I haven't seen the design for that, but it was a provincial project.
Provincial.
I believe the recovery team is involved in delivering the project through funding and or coordinating with them, but
Okay, and have the stakeholders on Fir Avenue being kept informed as to the progress of the development of the diking?
I'm not aware if they have been or not, if it's not in there.
Okay. I don't know if I should get into this one.
Go for it.
I'll skip this next one, I think. Let someone else do it. Or they won't do it. On the December posted positions, okay, I got that one filled. So the casual cashier, I guess, is the same, the pool. The January posted, are these vacant? So those are already positions we have. Someone's moved on and we're just filling them.
Correct.
Okay, great. And on page 16, 3 seasonal recreation assistant positions and 2 seasonal public works positions. I don't think we've finally approved those. I think we discussed them, but I don't think we finally approved those positions, have we?
So those, we haven't approved any of that because budget is still going.
Okay.
So those were the 3 that we removed last year as budget constraints and possibly talking about bringing them back this year now that we've gone through the 2-year situation. So that's a budgetary item.
Okay, good.
And there is some work on the jobs program to see if we can achieve some funding.
Perfect. Under corporate services, quotes are being obtained for revision of the city website. At one point, we had Unfussy doing the website. And I'm just wondering why we have to have someone outside. I thought we had IT and communications that were working on our website. So I was just wondering why we're having an outside source come in and do this when we have people that are on staff.
The skill set may be on staff, the time to do the work may not be. So with grant money, we're looking at investing grant money in getting the website updated. Have you got anything you want to add to that at all? Okay.
So it's all grant contingent, the entire revision of the city's website is grant driven?
That's the way we're planning it right now, unless something changes, which we'll let you know if it's gonna impact something.
So no grant, no revision.
The revision would be coming with grant money applied to it. If everything fits the scale of the budget we have allocated for it, it should move forward and get refreshed.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So on the project's capital equipment, the truck sander stand, so that project was canceled. So where does that budgeted money go? Yes, that's a CFO question.
We would. He may have canceled it right now. I'm not 100% convinced. We can't find or get made what we need to do that. But it sounds like he's planning on making a plan to just leave them on sawhorses kind of a thing. That said, CFO can tell you it probably just goes back into general.
CFO.
So I don't believe there was a dedicated reserve funding source. I believe unrestricted contingent reserves were using to fund that capital project. So if we don't execute on the project, those unrestricted uncontingent reserves just stay in place.
Okay. So on the annual dike inspections, so I see there was an inspection in the fall 2025. What do they do after the inspection? If there is an area of concern, what do they do?
So the inspection staff that we have in engineering under the infrastructure portfolio would make a list of things for Public Works to execute on. If Public Works, if it's outside of their skill set, equipment wise or time ability, then we would look at using contracted services to execute on some of the work to be done.
So what would a deficit in the dike, what would they spot as a deficit in the dike?
Very common thing that I've seen in the reports going back many years is all the tree growth on the dikes that's not supposed to be there. So as the root structure penetrates the dike, it creates opportunity for the water going by to erode. Trees fall into the river, your erosion then carries on and gets into other trees that have roots growing in there. So the trees are one of the primary things. If there's scours, we can go in there and fix those scours. So it's mainly vegetation control and looking for areas where the water is doing damage that we have to repair with some rock or some other means.
So is that only on the riverside that they do the inspection, or did you do the land side also, or just riverside?
Yeah, the inspections get done on the structure of the dike for what was built as a dike. So land side and water side, where that's what was built and registered.
Okay, let's talk.
So just to bring you up to date, I've been after the province since 2022 to have a dike, the provincial diking authority. We don't have that.
Mhm.
Yet they expect communities to go out and have people who are not trained to evaluate dikes to suddenly evaluate a dike. There is nobody to send that information to correctly because we don't have a dike authority. So I'll continue to ask for a diking authority, but probably we'll be doing that at UBCM because it's the one thing we don't have. But yet, as we have dike mitigation, suddenly we have a dike authority on the dike saying you
Yeah,
can do
that's
this,
right,
you can't do
yeah,
that.
great, I
Who the hell are
remember,
you?
yeah.
We don't have one. So I think that's one of the things that we'll push at UBCM is we need to have a provincial diking authority and we don't have it.
Okay,
Yeah, and to add to that, we hire professionals to actually do the inspection. We don't do that with staff because it's designated skill set that they're trained for. So I think we budget somewhere around $10,000 or $12,000 a year for those inspections to happen. And we also have to generate a report that the diking inspector does for the province, that they require us, diking authority or not, they still require us to submit a report.
how much would it cost to train someone in Public Works to become a dike inspector? Like, I don't know what training they have to, is it cost effective to train our personnel? Or is it cost effective to bring someone in every year?
Probably more cost effective at this point for what we have to work with to bring them in every
Mhm.
year.
Okay.
Training is not just necessarily dike specific. I know years ago I took bridge inspection courses in Alberta. And that was, about $15,000 for the training and 3 weeks of my life getting all certified to do that. And it took a long time to get the payback back into the system. But we had, 130 plus bridges that needed inspecting. So you know, in our area, it doesn't take that long. They come out and do the dike inspections in day and a half usually, I believe. So I think we'd be hard pressed to get the skill set up to where it needs to be with the right engineering experience to put into it to get the, and to write the reports as well.
Yep.
It's not insurmountable, but it
Okay.
could be done.
Under the Public Works yard planning, the fencing visual barrier is complete. The north and south fences have that curtain on them and they're ripped on both ends.
Yep.
So on the east side, they've got those slats that go through. Much more efficient and I haven't seen any problem with them, but
Yeah.
that fabric material has ripped.
Yeah,
So-
it's largely the fabric is cost effective. The slats are a lot more. So,
But they've lasted, where after 1 year, your
Yep.
curtains, the fabric is gone.
yeah, and where the money
So-
came for a lot of that came from insurance money and
Yes.
projects being done to
Yeah.
replace somewhat in kind. So
Yeah.
we're aware of that and we'll look after it.
And the new dike associated with fencing has reduced the yard space. Now, I don't know if this is off the topic, but I know homeowners are compensated for partial acquisition of their land. Now, the city over at Claybanks and most likely in Collettville where the water thing is, and then the Public Works yard land was taken. Has the city been compensated from the government for that land?
That's an in-camera situation.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, great information. Skateboard lighting. I think it's a great idea to have skateboard lighting, but I hope we're gonna try and get grants for that. Because that is one facility that is extremely well used by the public. And if we could apply for grants to get lighting, I think that would be an excellent idea. Maybe incorporate it with the ballpark lighting.
Yeah, and actually in an environment like that, I've talked to the director about that as well. We can use solar lights in those environments because we
Solar
don't
lights,
expect
perfect.
people to be skateboarding all night kind of a thing. So if we're lighting the dusk period up, and we've done some trials on the pathway with those type of lights, they run about $6,000 a piece. So they're not that bad. Just a matter of the level of lighting you get out of it, but we have options instead of grid connecting them for sure.
Actually, Councillor Egan did mention solar lighting. The tennis courts, I have a great concern of a city facility then being turned over to a private group. I think that we have to address that further as to how if taxpayers are paying for a facility, they have complete use of it and not just 4 hours a week. Oh yeah, we're in the West Merritt Active Transportation Path. Phase 2 that includes the washroom. Where is this washroom?
At the end of the Coldwater Trail across from Claybanks RV Park.
Oh, that one. Oh, all the
Yeah.
way over there. Okay, the silver one. Okay, that's when I wondered if I was thinking it was just along Pulshan in there. Okay, and on, what is this under? I don't know what it's under. On page 25, 3888 Vote Street, Casa Supply. What is that and where is that?
That's out on the North Airport
Okay,
property or the airport development north of the data center. It's basically, yeah, permits ready to go kind of thing. It's just got to get started at some point. They've been working on that for a few years. That would be a precast manufacturing and distribution area if they move forward with it.
again, thank you for the report. It was excellent and very detailed. I appreciate that.
Any other questions on the report? And 11.2, you have council resolutions, so you've seen what we've done. Information item, we have a letter from Heritage BC regarding Heritage Week. Anybody want to, anything on that? Councillor Ogan.
So my question is for staff regarding 12.1. So this is for information only. If council doesn't do anything, what is the process? Do you reply to in this case, the Heritage BC about any type of response? Because I believe that another organization contacted us and we do not do municipal proclamations. So is there a policy or something in place that we don't have, they are allowed to reply to these organizations?
if you wish, I can respond to Kristen, let her know that we've presented it at council and we have the posters up over at the Civic Center. We can,
Which one, is that the process that we are following here?
I don't think we actually have to, but I agree, it probably should be something we should do, just to let them know that we got it. So I can go ahead and do that this week and just reply that we've done what they've asked us to do and that I'll give her the the 10-4 on, or the 911 on the proclamation situation. Because every community is different across Canada, so I'll let them know that we got it, we've got it up, and that we are letting people know when the Heritage Week is from the 16th to 22nd. So I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, Councillor.
And on February the 19th, there is the open house for the museum for Heritage Week, especially kind of right in tune with this letter, to show off what's there in the museum and all the updated little pieces that are there. There's a lot of interesting information, a lot of chronicles that people can go for, or maybe even photos that people might want. So people should really take a peek at the museum and see what's there, because yeah. So I think it's February 19th, 4 to 7, but I'll confirm that. But that'll be happening. There'll be available information all week, and people can get information online, or if they want to find information on a certain family, like James Tate, who was a settler. Yeah, you know, from some time ago. They have all sorts of information there. It's really interesting, but we're already doing a good job with that, just as a reminder.
That's something, and I've totally forgotten what it was. Oh, yes, Shelley Chrissy Hessel dropped some information off that I've given to Kim covering some of the past newsletters that have been done as far back as like 1965. So she's got them in her office. We're going to make them available. So if you want to come in and browse through them, there's some names you might recognize, some pictures you might recognize. And when I was reading a lot of them, I was trying to think exactly where I was in 1982 on that day. You know, so anyways, we did get some of that from the museum, and it's nice that they gave that to us. And it's here in the building somewhere. I'll let you know where it is if you want to come and have a look at them. Anything else? Meeting closed. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff.